Hey everybody, my name is Nick Chaillan, the former Air Force and Space Force Chief Software Officer. I'm also the founder of Ask Age. And today we're going to have a pretty interesting topic near and dear to my heart. Talk about how generative AI helped me create my company and how it's been an incredible tool to augment my velocity and build what is now a multi-million-dollar company in a few months with a very limited set of investments, but also having the ability to effectively achieve outcomes in every field, from marketing to press to building a website, all the way to building a complex generative AI platform, and find customers and grow the business to now 12 people with complete automation, and how generative AI has been able to become my chief of staff, right hand of pretty much every kind of field, and really accelerate our velocity by 20 to 50x on average per job, non-blue collar jobs, as I like to call it. So let's get started and see effectively how generative AI really is a massive potential and tool capability that I believe is a must if you want to succeed and move at the pace of relevance in 2024 and beyond, and be able to compete in a world of fast-moving innovations. And so, for me, like everybody else, it started with playing with ChatGPT. And, I started to see some pretty decent capabilities when it came to coding. I'm a coder myself. I'm a cyber guy as well. And so I started to use it just for basic tasks and coding. And I had another business at the time, and so it would help me, achieve pretty quick outcomes, right? Emails and LinkedIn posts. And I was doing a show on YouTube, so help me write my scripts and be able to effectively automate a lot of my day to day. And I realized, after a couple of weeks, I was not using Google anymore, and I was really moving much faster. And so I started to think about, can we take this to the next level and orchestrate my entire life? And so it started first with this idea of like taking what I do every day and be able to automate the entire, step-by-step tasks that I have to achieve on a daily basis. And so looking at bottlenecks, and started with coding, and then moved to, marketing and press coverage and, every aspect of marketing, to the point where, the value I was getting was so significant, I felt like we had to bring it to the Department of Defense, where I came from. And I thought, we need to be able to bring a secure and a compliant generative AI tool for the DoD. So we started there with Ask Age, and created this new company back January of 2023 to bring Gen AI to DoD. And then it's scaled to, the entire US government, and also NATO, and now even regulated industries, in healthcare and finance. And so, we sign up about 14,000 government teams in 27 government agencies in 12 months, and 2,500 companies as well. So it's been an incredible success, massive growth. And we achieve about 3 million ARR only with 2 people. And then, grew to 12 people now, and grew the business even more. But, what's incredible is Gen AI effectively helped me bootstrap the business without any funding, grow it to this, incredible 3 million AR revenue. And then, we realize, okay, it's time to still grow, but we know that the amount of time and money saved was tremendous. So let's look at a couple of examples here. First, let's look at how we use it for software. And so, when it comes to building new features or assessing existing code, it's been an incredible tool. To the point where 90% of Ask Age is built by Ask Age. And so if you look at our code base, if a customer goes and create a new ticket for a feature request in our GitHub, what's going to happen is the bot is going to take that description And it's not going to be very good, right? But the bot has access to our GitHub repo, and so it's going to be able to look at all the different microservices and repositories that we have in there, and it's going to be able to see what kind of impact the change would have and better describe the change so that our team can assess it. And so we get an updated description out of the bat with a better description there. And then a human will say, okay, mark it ready to code. And so when it's labeled ready to code, the feature is going to now be created by Sage automatically. And so 90% of the code right off the bat is written usually pretty good. We have a pretty specific prompt engineering to automate a lot of the key points of cybersecurity and making sure the code is following our best practices and the government best practices and so on. And so we have this kind of right off the bat, 90% code base generated. Then it's reviewed by a human, tailored a little bit, maybe a couple of changes, customizations, and then the human can say, okay, create a pull request with those changes. And so the bot is able to connect to GitHub and create the pull request with the changes so that another human can go and review the changes so that we have multiple set of eyes on any code change. And so then the code is pushed to GitHub with the pull request and can be reviewed. And if it's approved, the bot is also going to be able to create all the unit testing and integration testing to be able to test the code and make sure it's not breaking anything, and goes through our CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration, continuous delivery, DevSecOps pipeline to scan and do additional checks. On top of that, we use GenAI also to assess the code itself with a different prompt that we created that's able to find malicious code in nature. So not just bad code, but really good code that's malicious. Could be, a malicious actor, or could be someone getting access to your GitHub repo, or whatever the case may be. And so the bot is going to do this assessment as well and kind of get us a good alerting mechanism, way better than what you would find in a static code analysis tool. So now you get, not only a code writer, an assessor, and a tester, but then also we're gonna use it to pick the right modules and libraries in Python and whatever, where the bot is able to then query our CV scanner to see if there's any vulnerabilities in a specific library that we should not use, and then the bot can propose alternatives to pick a better library to get the job done. So for developers, it's also a tool to then pick the right dependencies without picking something that brings you a bunch of technical debt or cybersecurity debt that you have to fix later on, so you can catch it right at the beginning of your development right there. And so we estimate that we would have needed about 42 developers full time to do what a team of 3 people was able to build in 12 months. And so drastic velocity increase, right? On average, we see our customers, spend about $90 a month per user of tokens, but they end up, generating hundreds of thousands of dollars of code per month, and increase the velocity of one developer to 35 times. So one person turning into 35 people. So pretty amazing. If you look at the rest of Sage, whether it's our marketing or logo, everything was created by Sage, including our logo, our website. We ask it to be #1 on GPT for government, and within 2 weeks we were #1 on Google. So it's all about orchestration and how you become kind of this leader to tell it what you're trying to achieve and give it the right context, and be able to use it as an assistant or an expert in different fields. Particularly when you're small and nimble, you don't have access to a lot of resources, you don't have access to every kind of skill there is on the planet. But yet now you have at your fingertip, if you ask the right questions and you know how to use it, and that's where prompt engineering is so important. That's where you can really get things done. And so if you look at marketing, you look at press, releases and so on, all this stuff was completely automated for us. We created this concept of RAG at the time, and so that enables the training of additional insights into your prompt so that you can get better responses. And so we were able to along the way train Ask Sage on what Ask Sage is and does, and our past performance, and the different value proposition we bring to the customers, and be able to explain it so that our marketing collaterals, brochures, PowerPoint decks, and website and so on were tailored to specific audiences, landing pages for different kind of use case, and ads and press releases and engagements. And so it's been an incredible tool to be able to do that, all the way to writing scripts for all the 12-hour of training videos we have on Gen AI, and how to use it for different use cases in cyber and software and DevSecOps and acquisition and legal and human resources and so on. And so it's been, an incredible tool to be able to also create the scripts, all the way now to actually doing the video, and where we have a virtual human with a fake voice, I guess, and able to do the entire video from scratch without having any human interaction whatsoever. And so it's been an incredible tool to also generate all that content now with complete automation and multi-languages abilities. So kind of a game changer when you're selling also outside of the US. And so, when you take a step back and you realize kind of all of the different abilities, right, of the AI models, a lot of people are so focused on issues that come with it. And there's definitely a lot of issues as well. But people don't spend enough time trying to fix those issues and find how to push the capabilities of Gen AI to be able to go beyond and continue to augment the abilities of the platform. And so that's what we've done for the last year and a half now, to the point where we bring a stack that's connected to Bing and Google and any database and data lake to be able to pull real-time insights and not just second-time files, right? We brought also the entire file ingesters with your PDF, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on. We bring live content from the web, and then we build plugin and agents, and that's really where you're going to start seeing a tremendous value, right? In automating tasks, right? So one plugin could be just one task, like go pull results from Google or Bing or whatever. And an agent is more complex, that could be chaining tasks, right, together, whether it's human assisted or completely automated, doesn't matter really. And we find that a lot of tasks can be completely automated, particularly when it comes to extraction or summarization or labeling, where the bot is going to be doing a great job, and you may need to do some oversight for the first few months with humans, and then the results are so good that you don't need the humans anymore to validate the responses. So that's a great way to also automate tasks there. And again, agents is really where you want to be, and build these complex step-by-step processes to achieve outcomes. And we do it in every field. So we talked a little bit about software, but we also do it to respond to bids, and government bids are a nightmare. You have to follow very specific stringent rules. And so we were able to directly connect to the government RFP websites and be able to pull the RFPs directly. And what's incredible there is that the bot is able to assess, whether or not we're able, or we should be responding to a bid, and kind of assess the likelihood of a selection based on the criteria of selection, and based on the value proposition that we bring to the table. And so what you're going to find there is an assessment phase, and then once we select a bid, the human can also provide insights and say, okay, first summarize this RFP because I don't want to read 20 pages. Give me the key bullets, so within a minute you get that, and then the human can read that and say, okay, for this bid, Ask Age also can bring significant value with X, Y, and Z. And then we have a product we created called the Acquisition in the Box on top of Ask Age that gonna be able to take your RFP and your past performance and all your insights on what value you bring to the table and be able to write the RFP response and generate the Word document following the template provided by the government and fill the right sections and iteratively, incrementally write the responses. So it's factual based on your training data and based on your insights provided. So for us, we went from 5 days on average to respond to a bid down to 32 minutes. So again, a game changer for teams responding to bids, whether it's a government bid or not, doesn't matter. It's also a game changer for teams, in the government or companies using this product to create their own bid and to write an RFP, a scope of work, requirements, or criteria of selection of who should be selected based on the desired outcome and the RFP. So the bot is able to write automatically the criteria of selection for your review, and then humans can assess and see if it makes sense. Usually it's at least in the 97+% range, good, right? So factual and on point. So, great value in marketing, great value in, press and ads, great value in building products and code, great value in cyber to be able to, assess an entire piece of code, look for performance improvements, look for cyber issues, documenting code. I hate writing comments in my code. The bot every night, with a cron job is writing all documentation and updating it. So it's always seamless. So that's kind of turnkey, tasks. And then all the way to data analysis, right? Where, we've created connectors, right, to databases and data lakes, whether it's Postgres or SharePoint or MongoDB or Elastic, doesn't matter. And it's able to act as a developer. So in that use case, the bot, you ask a question, right? And instead of writing the answer, it's going to write code to go query the answer in the database based on the table structure and the way the data is organized. We pass it the schemas and so on, and it's able to write its own code. So it acts as a developer to write the code so that it can give you the response. And it's able to pull that response and augment it with Gen AI to get you better insights. And so it's a multi-phase process, which effectively first is going to require to go get the credentials of the database securely. We use a government-approved, fifth validated 140-2 secret manager, and that is where we store the credentials to the databases. And then the bot is able to connect to the database, get the table structure of the data, write the query based on your question, get a raw response from the database, and then it's able to augment it with Gen AI insights on top of that. So it's multi-phase process, an agent, if you will, to automate the data analysis. And what we find with some of our customers is, they have data all over the place in different data sources and different databases. And so they can, with one prompt, go query 7 or 8 different systems, aggregate the responses automatically. The bot is smart enough to flatten the data structure and get you a more cohesive data information, and give you kind of a single pane of glass of your data, instead of having to go query 7 different systems and then find a way to merge it and aggregate the insights. It's able to do it automatically with usually 100% accuracy. So it's very, very good. We even had use cases, where the customer had like JSON with XML embedded. It was a disaster and very poorly, designed data, and still be able to flatten it into a single structured data set to be able to be analyzed and used. So great insights, as well when it comes to data analytics, right? So, again, all the way from cyber to coding to contracting, legal, human resources. You could give it a list of resumes, and God knows that with Gen AI now, every time we post a job description on LinkedIn or whatever, we get thousands of applicants, many of which are using Gen AI to respond and have no background in the space, and creating a lot of noise and junk that you have to filter. Makes it very difficult to know who to hire, because those people are also using Gen AI to respond, and so it's making it very tricky. And so what we've done is we have a plugin that can take a zip file and iteratively look through the list of resumes, and for each resume, grade the resume based on the job description and the criteria of selection of the job, to be able to prioritize candidates and interviews, and kind of try to detect as well anything in Gen AI as well. So again, it's kind of the same thing in cyber offense and cyber defense, right? We see a lot of malicious actors start using Gen AI to automate discovery and pen testing of systems to find vulnerabilities. And the only way to really, be able to fight back is using kind of the same tools to be able to do it at the pace of relevance. So that's something to think about. So overall, right, what it becomes is kind of this, assistant know-it-all that, sure, you need to pay attention and validate things, but again, if you connect to Bing and Google, which we've done, that can also ground the model in truth, and know that you're factual. And there's different ways to do that, and be smart about it. You trust but verify, right? It's not obviously always great, but I would say we're in a 99.1% range right now, under 1% origination rate. So pretty factual, pretty grounded in truth. And every kind of task we use it for pretty much every non-blue collar job. It's been a game changer, augmenting velocity from 10x to 50x based on the job, and really enabling people to elevate themselves and start thinking of what's next, and what else to think about, and more complex tasks, and where humans will bring more value, and really think outside the box. And so, what we see also is people learning and getting the training to be able to embrace these, plugin and agent creation. And we have this new product we're working on to do low code, no code, plugin agent creation, which is just a little drag and drop. So you can chain steps that the bot needs to achieve to automate a task. That's pretty awesome stuff. And makes it accessible to anyone that doesn't know how to code in Python or whatever. Although, again, you could use the Gen AI platform to write that code with a couple of our examples. So again, super accessible to enable teams that are very small and nimble, that by definition need to do it all. There's no defined roles in a startup that's 3, 5, 10 people big. You need to be able to touch a little bit of everything and bring value everywhere. And so you need to, be nimble. And so what we find is, if you have the right vision and you know how to give context and explain, even when it comes to raising money or writing pitches, or, what kind of raise should you do, what kind of, do you want to do a safe, what kind of round, the bot was able to guide us. And even though it's my 13th company and I kind of know what I'm doing, the fact is, the bot was able to give us a tons of insight as far as what to pay attention to. So I use it as a bouncing board of ideas, but also as an advisor. And if you give it the right context and you take the time to explain where you are, and you retrain it along the way. So we say, hey, we hire, this is our 12th person here. Here's a team structure now, right? What will you do next? What would you invest? What kind of gap do you see here that you think you think about hiring? Or what kind of market should we focus on now that we have, banking and healthcare, and government? What else do you think would resonate? with our value proposition, and where do you think there is an exciting market? So again, for entrepreneurs and people that want to get things done and think outside the box, we think it's an incredible tool. I don't think I've seen any innovation in the last 25 years since I've been working at a C-level job that has been so impactful to my day-to-day as Gen AI. As long as you learn how to use it and you don't give up, don't pretend it's not happening, don't get too scared of all the naysayers that are actually very much scared of the technology and will be probably the first ones to lose their jobs, quite honestly, if they don't embrace it and pretend it's not happening. But also all the people scared of it, or at least that struggle to reinvent themselves to know what to do next, and they're so afraid of it that they try to badmouth it. You see it in the press a lot, because most of the press is not real journalism anymore, so they just repeat what everybody else is saying. So they know that Gen AI can do this in its sleep, and that's not much human value there, and so they're worried about losing their jobs, and so they're gonna criticize it without being grounded in truth. So I always tell people, like, don't give up. If you don't get the results that you wanted to get, blame yourself, because we do, and we can show you how to do it. Take courses in prompt engineering, watch our videos, it's free. So get started, just try it. Don't give up, don't put your hand in the sand pretending it's going to go away. It's not going to go away. It's going to evolve, it's going to get better, it's going to get more complex. Agents is probably where the world is going to go, with very complex automation of tasks, and it's going to be a game changer for every business. With that, I hope this was valuable to you, and that you were able to learn. If you want to reach out to us, we're on LinkedIn, and if you want to give it a shot, you can go to ask.ai and try it for free. No commitment whatsoever. It's changed my life. I'm not saying this just because I'm the owner of the company. It's a day-to-day fact, backed by data and real value. So if I can do it, so can you. Hopefully, this is going to enable all you guys to create a bunch of companies and make the economy thrive again. With that, wanted to thank you for your time.